Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Runespell Overture. It is bizarre. It's as simple as that. This is a game by Mystic Box, and this is a pre-release press copy of it. It's not the entire game, and needless to say, WTF is not a review series anyway, so if any of you take it as that, then you're a bunch of idiots, quite frankly. I didn't like your review on this. Well, that's funny, because last I checked, I don't do reviews, ever. But this no, not a review. First impressions. Get it right, for God's sake. Such a very important distinction to make. In this case, as I say, this is a work in progress. It is an unfinished version, and this game is coming out later in June. Supposedly, assuming it doesn't get delayed. What is it all about? Well, you know how Puzzle Quest worked with the RPG and the fighting with the puzzle board mechanics that basically bejeweled the RPG? This is Poker the RPG, effectively. So let's check it out and see if it is worth a look. Onward into merry old England, which is where this is set. Now, inexplicably, there's been a great blizzard called the Raging White, and also you are a changeling. As to why, I have no idea. Apparently changelings are very common back in merry old medieval England. Somehow I think not. So I've done through pretty much all the tutorials, I think. I mean, there may be other tutorials that I don't know about, but onward. So you start on this basic track right here. There's a bunch of tutorials and battles that I've already done, and we're heading through to the first town, which is our first quest. So here we go. Let's go and find out what exactly is going on. Now, these are usually accompanied by these fairly nice scenes, actually. The art style of this game is pretty strong. It's better than Puzzle Quest. I mean, Puzzle Quest had a lot of weaknesses, like, for instance, its soundtrack wasn't particularly good, its sound assets weren't all that amazing, its art style was questionable, to say the least. Runespell's is significantly better, I have to say, in pretty much every respect. It's a much higher fidelity production, and I will be continuing to compare this game to Puzzle Quest because it's the closest thing there is to it. Okay. There we go. If I speak to Bellbreaker, I can get quest rewards, it would seem. Yes, there we go, so we can have a word with him. Now, from what I've seen in the first, 20 or so minutes of the tutorials and things, the storyline in this game seems fairly strong. And there was a storyline for Puzzle Quest as well, don't get me wrong. It was fairly cheesy. I like this setting a bit better, because Puzzle Quest is like generic fantasy world, whereas this is set in old England, and it actually does have some medieval elements to it, but also it's got a dash of fantasy thrown in there for good measure. The actual writing of it, as far as I can tell, is not that bad, so if you're looking to play this as an RPG as opposed to, hey, it's a gimmicky poker game, then that's pretty alright. Up until this point, I've been checking out the dialogue choices, and I don't see a difference between any of them, really. They don't seem to affect anything up to this point, but that doesn't mean they won't affect anything later on in the game. As you can also tell, it does have a reasonable amount of music as well, which again, Puzzle Quest was fairly limited in that regard. No doubt this game was inspired by Puzzle Quest, there is really no question about that, and you will see it once I get into combat. Well, obviously at our first town, so I'm going to check out the elements here. Right, so that is a secret. That is useful. That's a Secret of Battle Runespell card. It gives you a passive buff, as I recall correctly. In my inventory, I've got various power cards, and I believe you can actually build a deck of these up, and these represent your various abilities. There are allies you can summon in to do damage. I've got a passive blessing right there, and I also have a secret which I can equip. Seemingly you can only have one secret at any given time, and by the looks of it, only one blessing as well. I've got a Fire Shield rune spell right there that I can cast in battle, and things like that, and you can look through the inventory there. There is also a currency system of some description, and there's a gallery, and I like the fact that they actually did put a bit of backstory in here. They did put a significant amount of effort into it, and up until this point, I am looking at this game in a fairly positive light, I've got to say. Rationale being that it's too easy to be gimmicky when you've got a silly battle system. And you'll see what the battle system is shortly. In this case, it doesn't seem like they've done that, and I'm fairly happy about it. In the meantime, I would like to talk to this guy right here. There we go. We have a tutorial for trading. Minor ally power cards and rune spell cards with the trader. Click on the rune spells category to continue the tutorial. Right, there we go. The tutorials are really solid, as far as I can tell. Now, I cannot buy that Fire Strike 2. Now, what you also have with these rune spells is charges, effectively. Spells kind of act like wands in Dungeons and Dragons. They have to be recharged in order to use them. Some of them are infinite, but a lot of them you have a certain amount of uses, and then you've got to recharge them for currency, as you can see right there. Okay, so I can add a use of Fire Shield, for instance, and it looks like that cost me 40 silver. It doesn't tell you... Ah, it does. Yeah, it does. Never mind. It's got them down here. Okay, so I was going to say, that doesn't seem to tell you, but in fact, it does. It's down there. And, well, my god, there are a lot of freaking spells available, apparently. That's quite a lot of choice. And this is, of course, just a basic vendor about 20 minutes in the game, so I think there's probably more going on there. There doesn't appear to be equipment. It all seems to be based around these cards, passive buff, spells, and allies. You can't wear gear like you could in, say, Puzzle Quest. There we go. So I've added a few uses to that. That seems useful, so let's talk to him and see what's exactly gonna go on. Okay. Let's have a look. Mysteries. That's what we want. Yes, absolutely. Find and defeat one Cloudborn Niece and one Ash Hob. Okay. Right. There we go. And it looks like he will actually join me if I do this. So that seems pretty cool. That's an ally with a 8-turn cooldown on him, but he deals a huge amount of damage. And he's also infinite use, which is kind of to be expected. Right, okay. Do I want to talk to these other guys? Tips, useful things. Cool. Right. In that case, I am going to bugger off and see what we can find. Right, back onto this map right here. I have to wonder if it's got some of the complexity of Puzzle Quest. I mean, the thing about Puzzle Quest that made Puzzle Quest awesome that is not in Puzzle Quest Galactrix as well as Puzzle Quest 2 is the fact that you had stuff like town management, the ability to capture creatures and mounts and stuff like that. I don't think Runespell has that complexity, but it does take things in a different direction with the whole collectible card game aspect. Okay, it looks like we're going to get a fight, so here we go. Now, when I was saying it's Puzzle Quest with poker, I wasn't actually kidding. Make sure I've got everything equipped. Looks like I do. So, what happens is you basically have a board of cards in a solitaire fashion. And you are asked to create a stack of 5 cards, and depending on what kind of poker hand you've made out of it, depends on how much damage you make. Now, you have 3 actions per turn, basically. I assume you can probably add to that via the use of abilities. But you can also steal face cards, and by face cards I mean a card on its face on its own here, from the enemy. So if I spot a card that I want to make a combo, then I can take it. However, if it's already part of a combo that's being built, then I can't remove it. So in this case, what have I got? Let's have a look. Looking for the best poker hand imaginable. So I've got 6, 7, 9... Is there an 8 on their side? Yes, I could make a straight, certainly. But if you have a look at Poker Help, of course, then you'll see the actual hands. Bear in mind that a flush is better than a straight. People seem to keep forgetting this. Oh, I've got a straight, wonderful. Doesn't matter. Flush is better, full house is better, 4 of a kind, and of course, straight flush, 5. Yes, 5 of a kind. Needless to say, that doesn't actually exist in poker, but yes, you can have 5 of a kind in this game because everyone has their own separate deck, and you can steal, so I could go for 5 of a kind, which, as you can tell, does a fairly hideous amount of damage. Can I also point out how good the music is in the background as well? It really, really is very nice. Okay. Let's have a look and see what we've got. So, I can't go for a straight flush. I don't have the cards for it, by the looks of it. Full house is usually a good bet, far as I can tell. How many 5s are on there? How many 4s, 6s? So there's 2 6s. I could take 2 6s. I could grab one from there, but then I'd have to grab a 5 from there as well. I could do that, and I could start building towards a full house. That's probably a good bet. So I'm going to take his 6, and I'm also going to take his 5. I say you can just take them for a normal action point. Doesn't really matter. That's the amount of action points you've got left in the corner right there. And then we're going to grab a 5 as well. So that's a 2 pair. Not bad. I'll need 1 more card to complete it. Now, if you want, you can actually complete it with a junk card, as in a card that it doesn't belong in that hand. But you have to always have a stack of 5 cards every single time. And I assume that is, of course, a balance issue with the game. Ooh, it looks like we're going to get full house. There we go. I'll have your 5. Thank you very much. And then once you press that, you will strike and do your damage. You don't have to do it immediately. Bear that in mind. You can keep a big stack of cards available, and if you have a combo ready, they can't steal it. They can't do anything to it. At least as far as I'm aware. There might be a spell that can do it, but I can't see anything early on in the game that does that. Now, if I want to use an ability, I've got to use rage points, which I've built up right here. I don't have enough to deal with that quite yet. My fire shield is useless here. So I'm looking at starting to build up another combo. There's a lot of aces lying around here. But also bear in mind that you want to try and prevent combos from their end. Here, there's no way I can prevent a full house. You see, he's got 3 9s, he's got 2 8s stacked up right there. They're ready to go, so that's cool. He's going to do that, but it would be kind of nice to take some aces away from him, I think. And I think I'm going to do just that by the looks of it. I already have an ace, so I'm going to steal an ace. And I'll see if I can steal this next ace. Nope, he's added that one down there. Moved it down for... He actually used a 4 of a kind there. Which, is a 4 of a kind more? Yeah, 4 of a kind is actually better than full house, so there you go. Misjudged that one, that's my own fault. Now, he's looking for a big stack of 8s right here. I prefer that he didn't do that. I'm going to steal his 8 while I get the chance to do so. I can't steal his combo, but I can stop him from getting another 8 on there. As to where I'm going to put it, I actually have no idea, honestly. But I would like him not to have the ability to use it. Okay, so what have I got here? Well, I could go for a 2 pair right there. That's not bad. And, oh, he's taken my bloody ace, hasn't he? Ah, yes, and he also has magic. And it hurts like hell, evidently. Ouch. 7, 8, 9, 10. Is there a jack anywhere that I can steal? There is not, so I couldn't get a straight right there. Looking for an ace or a 4 on his side that I can nick. No. There's an ace right there. Okay, so keep the full house for the time being. I don't really... Well, there is kind of a reason to use it because you build up extra rage if you do that. So you can, if you so desire, use it immediately in order to generate rage, or you can just leave it there. Rage is that bar down there, and it's used to use spells, effectively, and you can also gain it by taking damage. Okay, I'm thinking we start stacking up maybe a full house right here as well. I'm concerned that he might steal that 8 because he's looking to build that. So I'm going to stack the 8 instead of the 7. And we'll leave the 7 lying around for the moment. Okay, let's see what he's got going on right there. It's just not too bad. 2 3s and 8s. Yep, he would have stolen that 8. He would have made a full house with that. So it's a good job that I stopped him from doing that. Not sure what he's going to do there. I mean, he could just dump a junk card, but then again, he's not going to do too much damage there, is he, if he does that? But you never know. He might. Right. So I have 3 8s. Do I have a 7? Is there a 7 I can steal? No. He's locked his 7 down, so I can't really do anything with that. I could throw a junk card at it. It's probably not a terrible idea. 2 pairs all right. There's not really anything else I can put on there, I don't think. There's no spare 8s, no spare 7s. Right, I'm just going to throw a junk card at it for the moment then. And... that's 2 pair. There's nothing wrong with it. It's pretty good. Nothing wrong with that at all. Is there anything else I can do? So I could steal that card or that card. I'll steal these 9. Why not? There we go. I'll have that. That gives me a pair right there. What else do we have? Is there anything worth stealing here? Queen, Jack, King. Not going to get anything out of that because I've already got a stack there. Shame I haven't got a 10. I could go for a straight right there. It's not going to happen, though. So... I could, of course, just use it on something else. I don't have to take cards. So I could either trigger one of these, or I could use a Bloodshot. So there we go. I'm going to invoke my ally, double-click that, puts it on cooldown, and it swaps it out, and there's the damage. So using allies basically gives you the ability to have them do damage for you, and usually it costs range points and takes an action point. Okay, what have we got? So I can do 25 damage to him right here. I want to see if I can stack up anything a little bit better. 8, 9. Of course, once those are stuck together, they become a combo, so I can't really do anything with it. Little unfortunate that I'm not able to do that, but hey, there we go, we'll deal. I wouldn't mind that jack. That would be reasonable. Did I move that accidentally? I think I did. Oh, God. Such a doofus. Oh, whatever. We'll just stack it up there. Get 2 pair going. It's alright. Okay, I think it's probably time to do some damage, because this broad is beating the snot out of me. So let's just open up with everything we've got. 1, 2, and 3. What I also like is the fact that the response on the interface is pretty much instantaneous. I can just click those, no problem. I don't have to wait for stupid animations to end before I click the next one. I just stack it up and then watch that go. I think what I'd maybe like to see in the final version is if you did something like that, make it a combo attack. Make it something that's visually cool. For instance, he dashes across the screen, then does it again, then does it again. If I stack up 3 attacks like that, why not have him stay across the screen and do a different attack? I know it's visual, but I think it would add a little bit of spice to it. It's already a fairly nice game visually, and it didn't have to be. Okay. So, what is he building right there? I think I should probably just concentrate on doing damage to him right now. Queen, Jack, Queen, Jack. Right, let's just stack up for the 2 pair. There's a king right there. And we can go for full house, perhaps. Not getting any 4 of a kind action going on right here. He has, however. That's going to hurt when it hits. Not looking forward to that one little bit. Oh, no. So I can just junk it for a 2 pair, or I can just wait. Just wait. 3, 4, 5, 5. Does he have a 6? He does. He's got a 7, but it's part of a combo. So I'll try stacking up for a straight. And see what I can get out of that. I'll take his 6, thank you. And I'll put my 3 on there. You don't have to put them in order, I don't think. He's bugging off with my jack, how dare he. And there's the 7 that I need, excellent. Okay, so there's the straight. Still haven't got anything out of this quite yet. I got a king right there, I think I'm going to nab that from him, thank you. So we'll get the pair sorted. I could dump a junk card on that, but it seems kind of pointless. Bear in mind, you can just start creating stacks as long as you've got space to do so, and then you can build them into something a bit better later on. So if I were to say, build that up right there, and then you'll notice I've got a 2 pair there that I could turn into a full house if I could find a 3 or a 2, which I don't have quite yet, but you get the idea. Anything worth stealing from there? Yeah, absolutely. We'll take his ace. Just looking to build a bunch of either 3 or 4 of a kinds and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he is doing a lot of damage to me, and he's now ahead, so I can't muck about for too much longer right now. That's just not good. No. So I think we're going to have to start invoking some serious damage, more to the point preventing him from doing just that. Okay, I'll have that. This gives me a full house right there, and then we're going to go in with 2 attacks, one after the other. And I just need 1 good stack to finish him. The problem is he only needs 1 good stack to finish me. What is he trying to build? He doesn't seem to have anything particularly good going on, I have to say. I need a jack, and he's not letting me have it. Or a queen. He's not letting me have that one either. Sneaky little individual that he is. What is going on here, eh? Trying to think of the best way to do with this. Of course, I'll stack that, and I'll unlock another card and hope for something good. And it is not. It's typical. It does have those solitaire mechanics in it, doesn't it? It's like, oh, if I pull this one, maybe it'll be a good one. You turn it over, and then it's useless. Like, oh, no. So terrible. Not happy. Right. Well, then. I actually don't know what to do with the rest of this turn, really. There's nothing useful that I can steal from him right there. We can't get anything going. I could start stacking up for a flush right there. A queen! Perfect! Aha! Now, here's hoping he doesn't actually hit me before I... thunderstorm. Can I survive it? Evidently not. Well, bollocks. There you go. So close. I did not do well. Not at all. Now, you can either retry or you can flee. Now, I don't think there's any point in showing you another battle on this because, as you can tell, the battles, they make sense, really. There's nothing really more to add to it as far as I can tell. But what I can say from this game is that Mystic Box have created something very, very evil. It's highly compelling. I think maybe the battle, because of the way that the mechanics work, the battles do take certainly longer than they would in Puzzle Quest. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, though. There is, I think, less of a randomness element in it as well than there is in Puzzle Quest, which I do like. However, from what I'm seeing thus far, there don't appear to be a lot of spells that can, say, affect the cards. Now, that could be something that comes later on in the game, but what I'm seeing spell-wise is, yeah, cool. I can put up a fire shield, I can bring in allies to do damage and stuff like that, but what about the ability to affect the cards? Because that's something that Puzzle Quest had, and that really changed the dynamic. It made it less luck-based, because you could alter the board. In this case, there doesn't appear to be a way to alter the board per se. You can alter your opponent's board by stealing cards from it, which is awesome, and I really, really like that mechanic, and it's highly strategic as well. Since you have a very limited number of moves per turn, you've got to think, well, do I want to try and prevent him gaining this? That's assuming that's what he's going for. Or do I want to try and build this here? And do I want to attack now, or do I want to delay and try and get a better set of cards going? And that's certainly something to consider, because you could throw some junk cards away on a bad hand, do some damage, not too much, but you would be able to draw new cards in the process, because of course it will reveal some of the cards underneath, or you can go for the good hands. Overall, I've got to say, Mystic Box seems to be creating a highly polished, extremely well-presented piece of digitized crack. It is really worrying, because it combines three of my favorite things: poker, RPGs, and, of course, collectible card games. There seems to be a really good mix going on in there. And while it seems to lack some of the advanced stuff from the original Puzzle Quest, like, say, castle building and management like that, it seems to be streets ahead of the other Puzzle Quest-alike games like, say, Gyromancer, and, of course, Puzzle Kingdoms, Puzzle Quest Galactrix, and Puzzle Quest 2. This is a highly promising title by the looks of it. It really, really is. I'm enjoying it immensely. It's really great fun. It's very well presented, extremely high production values for an indie title. And I am afraid of it. And the reason I'm afraid of it is because I know how much time I sunk into Puzzle Quest, and I have a feeling that this game could do just the same thing. Needless to say, if this game has multiplayer, which I think it does, far as I know, at least I think it's going to have multiplayer. I'm just going to go and quickly check that I'm not talking complete and utter nonsense. So look, Runespell Overture right here. Yeah, local and online leaderboard. Doesn't say multiplayer. That would be kind of nice. I mean, I would like to see a multiplayer. It does have a leaderboard, which is pretty cool. And that would be really great if it had a multiplayer option. But you never know. Could be coming in a future patch. But it is not on the feature list of this particular game. I don't know what kind of price point this game is looking for, but all I can say is I will certainly be having a look at it on launch, and I may revisit it depending on whether or not the version on launch is significantly different. It's really, really nice, honestly. I actually feared that this would just be a boring Puzzle Quest clone, and it obviously isn't. They've really put a lot of work into it, and it's something that I would keep an eye on. And it's either going to be available, I believe, late June or early-ish July. That's the estimation for it at any rate. There isn't an exact release date just yet, but it will be available on Steam. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit, and I'll see you next time.